Hi, everybody. I'm happy to welcome you back to the Women Who Tech podcast. This is the real conversation with badass women professional. We haven't seen each other for a little while. We are gonna talk about the looking for a new job and about the market situation. I'd like you to welcome our guest. This is Danbi Kim, a UX UI designer based in Berlin, Germany. We know each other for a little while. Hi, Danbi.
Hi, Lisa, and hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for your invitation.
My pleasure. I understood that you had such a cool, rocking year 2025 that you described on LinkedIn. I decided that's something that is worth to be talked about on a broader audience. Yesterday, I had a few talks regarding how to find the job that would fit their expertise and what the approach should be, because let's be honest, it's quite tough there on the
Yeah.
job market. Do you also feel that way?
Oh, of course. Yeah, the market is tough, economy is not so good, and there are less jobs. And as I wrote in my on my LinkedIn post, I applied 250 applications. That was, yeah, pretty crazy, but eventually, yeah, I got the job. I really appreciate for it, but it's really true that the situation is really tough.
Then I'm super curious how the process of the job search was for you. I mean, did it give you any anxiety, but also a freedom to make your day flexible and enjoy and try out other activities then?
To be honest, it was really, really full with anxiety. So I really wanted to keep the balance between the job search and my some enjoying my free time. But to be honest, emotionally was not that easy to do the both at the same time. I try to refresh myself on the weekends as much as possible to see the nature and meet friends, something like that. But always it was something in my mind about thinking about getting a job. So yeah, so it was really, I could say, it's stressful, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. I understand. Honestly, it was the same for me as I've been also looking for the job actively last year, and
Mhm.
I definitely share the sentiment in there.
Right.
What was helping for you to maintain the balance? Like you said, going for a walk, and,
Hmm.
connect with the nature, with your
Hmm.
friends. Anything else that you would that grounded you?
So actually, I haven't done anything for fun for the first several months after I started actively looking for a job, and then I I realized that it actually drowned me because my life was not balanced. I was only like focusing on looking for a job. Always, even on weekends, I was looking through LinkedIn, and I realized it's not good for my health, like mental health, even physical health. Stress can give you a lot of physical symptoms. So I started, oh, thinking maybe I should give myself a little bit more freedom, a little bit more time to enjoy life. So I started meeting friends, contacting, like messaging them, would you like to meet up? And I also started having a walk a little bit just for like 20 minutes a day, get some sun. That really helped me a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think like connecting with the people that can support you and with the nature and just going for a walk can be just a great supportive system.
Hmm.
So that's what
Yeah.
we all need while we are on the path of looking for the job. And here, I guess I'd like to mention that sometimes, just also following what you said, that sometimes we are feeling dreadful with the anxiety and with the thought that hey, we have to find a job right now. There is something that is always hanging and is a burden. And in that regard, it's super important to dedicate some time for good thoughts, so to
Yeah,
speak, as well. So like think
exactly.
about opportunities. I heard about cool exercise. It's also coming from mostly from the psychologist and taking care of the mental health of those that are under a lot of pressure. And they recommend you to have to have a deal with yourself, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like to feel anxious, like if you are anxious, say to yourself like, okay, I'm gonna be anxious like for 30 minutes or something. I'm gonna like
Mm.
think all that I experience that I possibly can think, and then I would dedicate another 30 minutes just to think like what else I can do, what the opportunities might be ahead of me, and think positively of something that you already have and can support you even more. So maybe that's
Yeah.
just something that the listeners can enjoy and try this out in order to get yourself out of the loop of bad thoughts, right?
Yeah, sounds amazing. Yeah, it will really help to let the feeling of anxiety go for some while, even for 30 minutes, and then think of something like more positive. And you can also do some meditation for a short time. It really helps.
Exactly. Yeah, to balance this out and let yourself to think about the positive scenarios as
Hmm.
much as you're already thinking about negative ones, because that's
Hmm.
something that you're kind of programming yourself
Yeah,
unconsciously, and we can influence that.
yeah, exactly.
And in that regards, I'd like to ask you about your approach of job search. How
Hmm.
was your ordinary day of looking for the job and applying look like?
Hmm.
And any other channels of looking for the job that you employed?
Mm. So while I was looking for a job, I had some routine that always when I wake up in the morning, I will check the job board first on like everything possible, such as LinkedIn, Indeed, and Stepstones. There are tons of the job boards, so I usually check, and then I started applying for the very latest one that was posted, um, and also, of course, I read through the job description, and if there is anything I can customize for those specific company or the role, I would add some more personal touch to my documentation, such as CV and the cover letter. I put some efforts to customize for each company. And so my typical day was, yeah, looking for checking the job board and sending my application. And in some evenings, I went to networking events to meet people. And also, I got a lot of mentorship sessions. So I also reach out to mentors. So between the interviews or when I wanted to revise my documentation portfolio, then I would revise first and then ask for feedback to mentors, something like that. I think it was my daily routine for job search.
Amazing. That sounds great, and you employ so much methods in there. Could you recommend then to us a few events that work out for you? If you also remember the names, where to go as a designer in Berlin to meet people, to network. I think
Mm.
that's something that's very important.
Yeah. So there are, I really appreciate for the design community in Berlin. So there are tons of events and there are a lot of groups. So I can say there are Berlin Design Event and Berlin Design Network. And there's also latest that UX Berlin community. And what else? Yeah, important one. Employed World community as well. If you are doing job search, this community, they also host a lot of mentor and mentee meetups. I got a lot of help from meeting the my mentors there, so I highly recommend going there. Yeah, and besides design, there are a lot of meetup for like women in AI meetup and lots of startup meetups. So there are tons of events you can try out in Berlin, which is
Awesome.
really great. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. And I highly encourage you, if you're looking for the job as a designer, to go to that events, because that's where the real networking happens. You can just broaden your horizon of
Hmm.
activities you can do, of people you know, of paths you can take. Those are super, super important. We're going to include those links under the episode description
Hmm.
so that you can find them as well. Some of those communities are LinkedIn or the WhatsApp based or having their own website, as far as I know, because a few names sounded familiar. And you said about the mentors, and
Mhm.
I it seems like it was quite important and the effective way for you to move forward. Can you talk a little bit about that? What was your approach to contact mentors, and how one could be not hesitant but more
Mhm.
proactive with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can recommend 120% to do get some mentorship. Because if like to be honest, I wouldn't be here if without mentors. So I really recommend everyone looking for mentorship. Even though you're a junior, mid, or senior, doesn't matter. Always feedback really helps to improve. So I highly recommend that. And so the way how I approach mentors were various ways. First of all, I found some of them from some mentorship the platforms like ADP List, and I talked to some of the mentors from there online. And also, I just mentioned about this mentor mentee meetup by Employed Work. I went there. They have like monthly meetup, so I went there every month to meet some mentors and also fellow mentees, so I could talk to like many mentors in person, and then I made connection with them. And I it wasn't the end. So at after the end of the mentorship, the meetup, I would approach them, I email them or message them on LinkedIn again, asking for some feedback on my CV or portfolio so I could connect with them more and build some relationship. So some of them from among the mentors, I could really build strong relationship. So I could talk multiple times with one mentor, for example. So I could get more transparent opinions, and so I could improve step by step. It was really important to ask several mentors, as many as mentors possible, to gather some various aspects and from different angles. So it really helped me to figure out which direction I should focus on. What are the things the mentors mention the same thing on my CV or portfolio? That's the thing I need to fix first, for example. So it really helped me to gather this idea and then improve myself, improve my portfolio, CV. And yeah, believe me, my CV and portfolio looked way less professional before mentorship, but after some months of mentorship, it became much, much better, more convincing.
Absolutely. That sounds great and fantastic. Then it seems like that's what also helps you to get this job, the new one that you're having. The portfolio and CV
Hmm.
had a crucial role in it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Then I'd like to ask you your approach of applying into the jobs themselves, meaning that there are, of course, a few sources of the open job positions. One of them is being through the company website, then the platforms where you can
Hmm.
browse through hundreds of those, and sometimes hiring managers or the ones who are helping them out would
Hmm.
post about the job on their LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Have you tried any of those? Have you also messaged to people on LinkedIn, and how did it work out?
Yeah, yeah. I tried everything I could try if possible. So I tried all kinds of stuff. So applying through LinkedIn or applying through company websites, or I also even sent some cold emails and cold messages through LinkedIn, but it actually didn't land me actual job or interview opportunity so far. Maybe I could try different ways, but my I think so. For my current role, I found the job description on LinkedIn, and I went to their company website and I applied through their company website, and then that's how they found my CV from their system, and then they reach out to me for the interview. So that's how it started. But I believe cold email and cold messages can be also effective if you know how to approach people. Just for me, it didn't work out well. Maybe I could figure out a better way to approach with cold emails, but unfortunately, didn't directly influence my job search.
I see. I see. But that's already a winning strategy that you had, because you got the job also by applying to the one through the website. But
Hmm.
initially, you discovered the job on LinkedIn. Could
Hmm.
you tell me a little bit more about it? Like, was it the hiring manager posting about the job, or was it like just from the company saying, "Hey, we're hiring, we're looking for designer, come to work with us"?
So it was a very official job post on LinkedIn where you can find from the job list. So it was not like the CEO's post or hiring manager's post. So it was very traditional job description, job post from the LinkedIn.
I see. Nice. And were you already following the company, or what? In what way did you discover the post on LinkedIn?
I actually didn't know about them and I wasn't following the company. I just discovered them on LinkedIn from the job description actually. And maybe I can give you one tip. Always filter from the job post by latest. So you would get higher chance to get be seen when you are very early candidate. So what I did always, so I went on LinkedIn, check on the job list with this keyword like UX designer, and then filter them out and always sort them by latest. So I always check them from the latest one to the one posted long time ago. So and I never apply for something that was posted like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because the chance is really lower that they will check my CV in that case. Actually, I didn't know about this for my first few months. So I was just applying for everything. But then I learned about this. I was putting some extra effort for not to be seen.
Hmm.
It's really so that's how I found my company, the job post. Then when I was filtering them out and sort from the latest, I found them and it looked really interesting. So I reached out to them. Even though the job description was written in German, I just reached out to them. So just apply.
Wonderful. That's a very great approach to be mindful of using LinkedIn and filter the jobs to see the latest job positions and apply to those to increase your chance to be in
Mhm.
the early applicants and to be more visible in there. That's a very good tip. I also heard about that quite a few times. I would encourage everybody who is stuck to try exactly that approach. And so much what I heard that that way might be one of the most effective ways to get
Yeah,
jobs, actually.
yeah, I
It's
think
not
it's
about
really important.
browsing.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's really important. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's very cool to hear. So the job description was in German.
Mhm.
But what happened next, I wonder? Did you have the interview rounds in German as well? Or are you working with is it English enough in the way you work right now?
So I was really lucky because the company official language is both German and English. And I think many of them can speak English very fluently in my company. I would say maybe 80-90% of people here they speak fluent English. And in the job description, it said they require fluent German and English, actually. But I tried anyway. And I was really, really lucky because my team, the design team, we use English as an official language. And my team members also, everyone speak very good English. And even though I'm designing something for German users and everything is in German, so the content on the product are all in German, but I can work and communicate in English with my colleagues.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's something, I guess, the dream job in terms of the languages you shuffle, you speak for many designers who also are not the German native speakers.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's what's happening. You do work with the UI in German and also with the insights that
Hmm.
might be written in German and for the DACH companies in the
Yeah,
DACH region. But it's so cool also to be able to communicate with your colleagues only in English. That sometimes would make things faster.
yeah,
And
yeah.
in that regards, I'm curious whether the job interviews also have been provided in English, and what were those? If you also is open to say for us, how many rounds did you get through? Was there a case study involved?
Sure, sure. So because they already knew that my German is so basic, so they offered all the interviews in English. So I didn't need to speak German during the interview. And I had 3 rounds of interview with them. The first one, and it was very unusual because all of the interview were uh, done in person. So my company is based in Berlin. So I could visit them in person for the all 3 rounds, and which was really good for me because like when you can meet the interviewer in person, you can feel more personal connection. So it was really great chance to meet them in person. And the first round was with the hiring manager, the design lead, and it was a interview with a lot of questions about me and about my work, and some questions regarding my skills, design skills, and also some um hypothetical questions like how would you do in this situation, blah blah blah. So it was more like very conversation, and also yeah, also part of it I showed my work, my design work. And yeah, I think that was the first round. And the second round was design challenge. So that was also in person. So they gave me a design challenge. There was a prompt, and I needed to solve the problem within 2 hours in one of the desk they have in the office. So yeah, it was actually nice. You could feel how you would work there if you will be part of the team. That's like the real scene you will work. So it was a really nice opportunity. They
Mm.
let me do it in person. So and after 2 hours, I had some time to present.
I see.
Yeah.
So you were doing the task on site in their
Hmm.
office, but just taking those time for yourself, and
Hmm.
afterwards you had the presentation, right?
Yes, yes. On site. Yeah, yeah, everything within that.
What were your impressions? What was the interview style and tone of voice? I'm
Hmm.
asking that because I've been the part of those interviews on site myself as well. I mean, on the more on the employer part,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's sometimes it's quite stressful for the candidate because there might be a few pairs of eyes set on you while
Yeah, yeah,
presenting, right?
yeah,
It's
right,
quite challenging, and
right.
also stranger people, but you definitely can tell whether they are curious, they're just asking questions and are being friendly and
Hmm.
having a flat hierarchy, or is it more like, hey, you have to prove you have to prove yourself to us, and that's might be even more stressful. So I'm just
Right,
was
right.
curious, what were your impressions about the interview tone of voice?
Well, tone of voice, it was friendly. Everyone was friendly all the time. That was really nice for me to feel the atmosphere. Yeah, I think I bet I would have really stressed if they were pressuring me like that. You need to uh just show me the best work ever in this 2 hours, and watching me like all the time, something like this, then I would have really, really high pressure. But actually, they were really nice and friendly. And while I was sitting there, everyone around was also like just they were just working as normal days, and then I could observe that they uh they were having very casual conversation, and everyone seems very open and friendly. And I think that was also opportunity for me to find check the culture fit. So it's also important that you need to check the culture fit as a candidate. So if the communication style doesn't fit you, then it means that you might not have good culture with them while working. So I think, yeah, it's also very good opportunity to see that during the interview.
Absolutely, because you're meeting them as people, as they're part of the culture, as much as they are meeting you and getting
Yeah,
to know each other. And it's very important to see, to notice the red flags if there are those,
yeah,
and green flags,
exactly.
and there should be plenty of those. I understand how you two match. So it was super cool that you got to know people face to face. May I ask you how much people did participate in that interview round? Was it not
Mhm.
only a hiring manager, but the other designers in the team?
So the people who were involved was like three. So the HR and the hiring manager, my design lead, and I'm a part of a marketing division. So the head of marketing division. So these three people were involved throughout the process.
I see. Were there any other designers that you have in your team or engineers involved?
So actually, engineers, there are a bunch of engineers in my company, but they were not directly involved in the interview process. And there are also more designers in different team in my company, or there are several business sectors in my company. So only who are in my division were involved, but there are more also designers in different team in different office in Berlin.
I see. Cool. Cool. Do you communicate with them as well? Do you have the ceremonies together or just like anything together as a team?
Yeah, sure. So we have something regular company events such as Halloween and New Year's, Christmas events for all the employees. And in this kind of circumstances, that we can gather all together regardless of the team and the location of the office. So I can meet the other designers in different team in this kind of event. And recently, some of them moved to my office. It's yeah, so I can meet them more often. Some of them, so yeah, which is nice. Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, that sounds cool. Yeah, it's every startup and every business would have their own way of doing things and of keeping the team, of design team together, but also as a part of the cross-functional, dedicated teams. So, but the communication is all what matters, and the
yeah,
knowledge sharing, if possible.
right.
And in here, I guess I'd like to ask you a little bit like personal and I wouldn't say quite a straightforward
Mhm,
question. I've been just thinking because also judging on my own experience and of experience of mentees and people around that I'm just talking to that looking for the job more than a few months
mhm,
feels quite dreadful and stressing you out a bunch. And I've been just keeping how would one keep their own morale high when it comes to the job interviews themselves.
yeah,
Like maybe you know the feeling when you haven't gotten that much yes for some time and then you finally
yeah,
gotten into the interview round and it's such a huge opportunity that you're thankful for, but at the same time you might feel a little bit of a lack of balance. The people who are hiring have the freedom and authority a little bit more than you are because
mhm,
you're designers nowadays we are in a weaker position so to speak
mhm,
job market wise, and when you got gotten into the job interview you want to look and sound confident and
mhm,
yet in a good contact with them and
yeah.
understanding what they need. But how would one keep their morale high and be all right with the that balance of power in a way and of interest in each other?
Right.
Just your thoughts.
It's really good question. I also thought about this while I was job searching. And also when I changed my mindset and attitude, then it changed everything. So before that, I was so devastated to get a job, land a job, and get an offer. And so when I So I would easily becoming more like like people pleaser in the interview because I want to impress myself positively. So and then always give them compliment about their business, something like this. I mean, it's also important, but when you are devastated, then I think the hiring manager perspective, they can see that. So they can see you're desperate. I mean, I understand. I was there. So I was also desperate to get a job. But if you shift your mindset, okay, I'm the one who also assess the company. Also, I will get the job that I want, not because I'm really desperate to get a job. So I changed my mindset at the last months of job search. And then actually, I got more confidence, and I was taking the rejections personally, like emotionally. It was a really hard time, I know. I got a lot of rejections. So I was doing self-doubting, like maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe my design doesn't convince that much, or I need to learn more German, or I need to learn more skills to get a job, something like this. And but one time, I and but I changed my mindset. The rejection, maybe it's just also like how to say like chemistry between company and you. So sometimes you were really good at interview, but just the culture fit wasn't there. Something like this kind of thing can happen, even though your work is really great. May just their organization fit, fit wasn't there. So I changed my mindset. So okay, I got this rejection, but the world wouldn't end because I didn't get the job. Even though I got rejection, I had one more experience that I got through the interview, and there's always something I can learn from them. So I started to taking the rejection more, observe my interview more objectively, and just analyze what happened, and then use that opportunity for the next interview. So, and I could be more confident even when you walk in the interview. I was keeping reminding myself, okay, this is a good opportunity, I know, but you just be confident, and so don't over pleasure them, because you are the one, you also need to assess the company. So when I changed that mindset, actually things when started going really well. So I got some job offers, including my current one. So I think it changed circumstances as well, the mindset.
Of course. That's great that what you're saying. I just want to emphasize that once again, that it's really all about the mindset when it comes to the job interviews, because it's the conversation and in which you present both of you. And
Hmm.
yeah, it truly is your job to present yourself in the best way possible and in the good light, with confidence, also talking precisely and asking right questions and so on. And sometimes hiring managers would be actually impressed by the way how you asking questions
Right, right.
on their part, and not only with the yeah, like that you're feeling agitated and
Hmm.
then you talking about yourself so much, or just
Hmm.
your accomplishments and so on. And the real maturity of designer comes when we would understand that it's the asset to the company, exactly like you said. First, it's important to understand what's the business goals right now and the company needs that you can fulfill together with the team. Yeah, it would show them that you're curious, you're proactive, you
Yeah.
know what the processes all usually take place at the companies like this, whether it's a B2B or B2C
Hmm.
or a startup or a bigger company and so on. And then showing you it's gonna show you a rightful player on the same level as they
Yeah.
are, and that would increase your chances to get into the next round for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I cannot emphasize more to leverage the opportunity to ask questions to them. I think, like as you said, it's really important. And I think sometimes these, like what kind of question you ask them, can have really good impression on you, because you can show how passionate you are about this, their business. And there, and it shows you how you care, how much you care about this role and the company. So I think it's really great opportunity to ask questions. So I always ask my at least 3 questions to them, prepare in advance before interview, and ask something very like original, not like not like general questions that you can ask every company, but specific question for them.
Can you give the example of what those three questions might be?
So I asked, and also I changed the question based on my interviewer, because if that's like an HR round, I cannot act, they cannot answer about the design team, for example. So if the interviewer is HR, I would ask their personal experience as a HR. For example, I interviewed with startup that grew really fast in the past 6 months. They they were really small team, but they grew to a big team. And I asked, so as a HR, how do you see the company culture changing because of this organization change? And what are you, as a HR, what are you doing to keep some core values? Something like this. Or I also ask, when could you share the moment when you felt proud to be part of the team? Something like this. So you can ask some question to them, not so you also need to consider who's your audience, who's the interviewer. So, and I would change the question if the interviewer is a designer, senior designer, or the lead design team. Then I would change the question. So your business is like in this kind of situation. And I saw some LinkedIn post about your recent movement and activity. And how does your design team follow up with this recent changes, for example? And sometimes I also ask some question that I couldn't gather from job description. So from job description, you cannot see how many designers are there, how they collaborate daily. So it's also a good opportunity that you ask about the team, how they collaborate, how many people are there, what are the roles of designers, and how do you measure success in terms of the design and something like that. And I changed my question to product managers. When there are product managers, then they care about business and business metrics. So I customized my question. So also including their business industry or the market. I research in advance and ask some insightful questions like about their business and how would they tackle the problem in their situation, and what kind of success metric do you expect, or what are you tracking as metric, something like this. So
I see. Yeah, that's awesome. That's so reasonable also to tailor your question depending on the audience because they might take care of different things
mhm,
and having something else going on them with them that will influence your work directly. It's so super great to be prepared with the questions, also in your job descriptions. I really love the question, how would I complement, or how would designer in this role complement the team, complement the team in the specific challenges that they having or the goals, what are the areas that you expect this person to fulfill, and so on. A super cool question, another just to expand the bank of questions, is to ask if you're already on the later stages of the job interviews, you can ask a question what are the expectations of the
mhm,
hiring manager,
yeah,
of the person next to you, of the designer, what shall be achieved or unlocked in next 3 6 months. That will give you actually super cool information what the company expect from you in 3 months or in six for your probation period. Since we
mhm,
are in Berlin, the probation period
yeah,
lasts 6 months, so it's quite a
mhm,
quite a long time, which is good that you can implement more things. But that would also keep you awake at night sometimes. What's going on with your probation period? Yeah, being proactive and not hesitate to ask questions is the key in here. And I'm super cool. I'm super happy that we talked about that too, because that
Yeah.
matters. And while you were talking, you actually revealed that you had not only a one offer but a few. Maybe you can tell us a little bit of numbers there. You know,
Yeah.
to
Sure.
250 of applications, and what else? How many interviews and so on.
Sure. So I applied for 250 jobs and I got I think 26 rounds of interview around that. And then in the end, I got four offers throughout two countries. So two in Germany, in a different country. So, and I chose my current role because I really appreciate it for the all the opportunities. But I felt the current one was the closest one I wanted to proceed and wanted to grow my career in the field. And also, I wanted to stay in Germany. Yeah, that was also the big reason.
Big reason for that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. To get 26 interviews and then four offers is just amazing. I'm really happy for you.
Thank
And
you so
it's
much.
just, it's a great um, hope that we are drawing right now for other people that listening to us, and to our, my mentees that coming in also on the ADP list, asking the same question, like how tough the market is,
Hmm.
how possible that would be for me to get an offer if I'm, a junior or middle designer, or if I'm having not speaking not a good German and so on. Your case is just the perfect scenario for designers as well. Yeah, it took you some time, and it's okay, and a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of efforts and a lot of tryouts, but it did work out in the end. So I just want to highlight that it's possible, and it does require just a lot of effort on your side, but yet
yeah,
possible.
yes.
Possible. Then covering the topic of the job interviews you gotten and you went through for the current role. What happened after the case study, after the design challenge? Was there another interview?
So it was actually the almost the Uh, so that was the last, just HR. It was very unconventional because many companies start with HR interview as the first round. But this one was, so the actual design team assess first, and then the last round is the HR. So almost the decision was made after the second round, and then there was some administrative HR interview at the end.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
And you got an offer afterwards.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. No, it's super cool. It's quite unconventional. Although I did experience the that chain of events as well. When the first talk would happen with the hiring manager or with somebody from design team to assess your soft skills and hard skills. A design challenge or case study would follow, and only after that, we are talking about organizational things and culture fit and so on. Sometimes the interview with the CEO or with the
Yeah.
head of product would happen
Right.
as a last check of the match you're having. But it's cool to be aware that the sequence of job interviews might differ.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's nothing like that you have to build a rocket ship or something. You're still doing the designer job.
Right, right, right. So yeah, I experienced many interview from different companies. I could see that the process of interview rounds are very different, uh, depending on company and depending on role. So it was very
Yeah.
different.
Okay, okay, cool. It's good to know. Then you've been saying that you did a few freelance projects on your own.
Hmm.
In that regard, I just want to ask you, do you think it's a good idea for a designer looking for the permanent employment to be active in other areas, to talk with the startup community, to gather a smaller or bigger freelance project while they are still on the lookout?
Yeah, of course. I would say take all the opportunities, all the chances if you can. Every experience help you to build your skill, soft and hard skill, and also you can also use this case study in your portfolio if the company the client agrees for the information closer disclosure. So I would say if you can take as much as an opportunity, that always helps you.
So I'm listing out the benefits that designer would get from
Mm-hmm.
working with the on a freelance project. So definitely building up the portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
polishing your design skills,
Mm-hmm.
getting the compensation if
Mm-hmm.
this one is involved. But have you experienced the freelance work with the startups? And in your opinion, could that grow into the permanent employment, into the
I
bigger
see.
opportunity?
Yeah, of course, of course. If the startup grow, I actually had that experience in my past, past. So I actually that was the time I before I converted my career as a designer. I started freelancing and I had a client as a brand strategist. And I worked with them for 3 months and they really appreciated my work for them. So they offered me a full-time job to for them. And the company was growing, so they were very open to have more teammates. And I already worked with them for 3 months, so they knew how I work. So and they liked my the performance and communication style. So they invited me to join the team, and I did join the team. So this can happen, of course. So there are a lot of startups in Berlin. So I think it can be a really good strategy if you find a growing startup and you find some aspect that you can contribute to the startup. And then if the freelance work throughout the freelance work, you and your company have both a mutual agreement, then there's a high chance that they offer you the full-time employment. But I wouldn't say because economy is unstable, so I cannot tell how much the percentage of the possibility, but I can say it can happen.
I see. Okay, of course, there is no guarantee, and it's tough to talk about probability, but it's definitely the change in your mindset to think about that there might be that opportunity.
Hmm.
And it's still gonna keep you busy, and maybe what
Yeah,
would get you some compensation
yeah.
would also strengthen your self-evaluation, self-esteem, right?
Hmm.
Because you're doing things, you're still in your occupation, and then it's a good trampoline to the full partnership with another company or
Yeah,
the employment. So
of course.
just to keep in mind. You already just said and mentioned a very important thing, which is brand strategy.
Hmm.
And as far as I know, that was also the background you've been
Hmm.
coming
Yes.
from. Community at the conference that we met each other, we've
Yeah.
been talking about that
Hmm.
quite much, like how to benefit from your background. Just yesterday, I talked to another person who's
Hmm.
a junior designer is looking for the job. And she had another background, more in the jurisprediction and more into the corporate business side as a lawyer.
Hmm.
Also, a lot of lawyer stuff that she experienced, and she
Hmm.
was asking me and whether it makes sense to mention that in her portfolio.
Hmm.
More like a lawyer becoming designer and having quite a good analytical thinking that she can benefit from. And of course, she said that there are other designers that recommended her not to mention that, and other ones were no, you have to emphasize that because that would uh, give you would open the door to specific industries and so on. And here I just want to ask you how
Hmm.
your background in the brand strategy impact your job search and
Hmm.
strengthen your or not strengthen your experience with it, and how do you want to benefit from it
Yeah.
if possible.
Right. Uh, yeah, it's a great question because I'm a career switcher, and I also want to share this because it's possible. I did it, so it's possible. And I so how so I put about the question if you need to include it or not in your CV. It all depends on your how you storytell. So, and I would say include it, but change your narrative and focus on the ability that you can utilize in the new field like UX UI design, how your past experience can help your UX skill, for example. So I was a brand strategist for more than 5 years, and my responsibility was to keep brand consistency most of the time. And I work with a lot of designers, and so I define the brand identity and also define the tone and manner of the brand and how I could keep the visual consistency throughout whole communication. And I made some communication strategy for the company and the brand. So what I could emphasize on my interview that so I have the skill so not only so I can deliver design, not only focusing on not only on usability, but also giving them strong brand experience throughout their digital product, for example. And I have a strong foundation in business strategy, so I can deliver design that makes sense visually and also for helpful for the business growth. So I know how to analyze the metrics in terms of business so I can design something that can also help business, the revenue growth, for example. And also this, regardless of your occupation, you always build soft skill throughout your uh, job, any job. I also brought up that uh, because I was in charge of communication, I did a lot of cross-functional communication throughout internal and external stakeholders, and I brought them as my skill set. So I communicated with a lot of cross-functional teams, and I can also bring this skill to UX design. So it's depending on how you storytell your past experience. So I believe that my current company was convinced by my background, and they were actually interested in me because of my past experience. The hiring manager told me, so one of the questions they asked through the interview was, oh, so you have experience as brand strategist. So what was your responsibility and how does it help how on UX design and how's the connection and why did you decide to convert? Something like this. I always got the interview question about my career switch. And if you can explain this in your language, which makes sense, and also how you can use the past skill to UX, then I believe it can be very differentiation from other candidates. So they can even regard you as a special candidate.
Absolutely. It's so important what you just said, because it's not only that you can storytell in the right way and also with the honesty, telling
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I was a lawyer, but now I fell in love with the design, and I know that I can use something that I already built up in my previous career for the benefit of this one.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely keep you or make you standing alone or standing
Mm-hmm.
out as a candidate, and especially if the industry would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But just to give an example, I also know I also have been spoken to a product manager
Mm-hmm.
exactly in this channel on Women Who Tech podcast about her insurance experience. So she had the education in direction of the of insurance and as a lawyer as well. Something that I cannot point my finger in the on exact name, but more in that direction. And now she also works as a product manager in the insurance company. So
Mm-hmm.
that's would be considered as you not only know your craft as a product
Mm-hmm.
manager or designer, but
Mm-hmm.
also understand the foundation of some business
Mm-hmm.
in the field that you've been studying. So don't hesitate to mention that as well. I think we all humans, the hiring manager would understand why you're transitioning if there is a little bit of a backstory that you're willing to tell and be honest. Yeah, tell that you're fall in love with that occupation, with design for that kind of reason. So
Yeah,
it's definitely not your disadvantage, but you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
learn how to keep it as an advantage.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So don't think it's your disadvantage. It makes you special and memorable. So, and just be honest and tell the real story. So then they will understand.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they will understand, and it's the part of your identity. And
Yeah, yeah, of course.
it's a bad idea to hide one part of those or make it sound different than it was. In a way, it's you present yourself as a whole
Mm-hmm.
personality there. You
Mm-hmm.
have experience in many areas,
Mm-hmm.
and why don't you just benefit from it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a good
So
idea.
I would say it's a way you do the self personal branding.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a very good framing of those. Yeah, personal branding. Yeah, we just heard your story, transition from brand strategies to designers, so everything's possible and the doors are open. And I guess in our last couple of minutes, I'd like to ask you if you happen to have any advice to the
Mm-hmm.
fellow designers who's also on the lookout for a job. Any three things you'd like to mention and that would come handy because people are anxious and hopeful at the same time, and we want to maybe spread in the part that is full of hope.
Right. So, okay, three things. So first of all, I would say be prepared. And I mean by be prepared means you need to understand really well what the companies are looking for. And so you have time. You take your time to prepare some expected questions, and you can also prepare for some kind of story to tell. I wouldn't say like you need to make a transcript and how to tell, but just an idea what kind of story or kind of situation you are there. So because you would be in panic if you didn't prepare any story, then you will get more nervous and more anxious. So I would say be prepared well, and you can find the clues from job description more than you think. So you can just read line by line, and then you will find the clues what exactly they are looking for. So focus on that and prepare. And but the second thing, it's quite contradictory, but it would be don't be over prepared. Because I learned this lesson really hard by getting rejections after some final rounds because English is not my first language. So I wanted to prepare really well, not to make any mistake. So I was making transcript and then practice a lot. But then in actual interview, I think I was speaking more like a robot. I wanted to nail it, the presentation. So I was just, you know, did what how I practice. But eventually, I learned that that's cute.
Yeah, he was with us all the time. Now he's like, I want to show himself up. Sorry. Yeah, it's a cute pie.
Yeah, so sweet. He's also interested in my story.
He is, we all are.
So I was like over prepared and was I think I didn't read the room maybe because the interviewer she wanted to have more casual conversation and she wanted to ask questions between my presentations. But I was like I need to finish this presentation. I need to look professional. Well, and then I learned that eventually the interview is human to human interaction. So it's important that you prepare for the interview and you show how you prepare by asking questions, for example, but don't answer like you need to you memorize the answer, for example. So it's more when it's more like communication. I think the interviewer also feel more comfortable and you will be also comfortable. So when the atmosphere is comfortable, I think you will likely more enjoy the conversation, and that leads to really good result, I think.
For sure, for sure. I can just double down on that. It's definitely human to human conversation, and
Yeah.
it's more important to be in the contact and with your companion in this conversation. Like, is
Mm-hmm.
it if the other side is like more lively, more vivid, more expressive?
Mm-hmm.
It can also be the same way. You don't
Yeah.
have to sound robotic. There might be the other atmosphere in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and you can read that and you can try adjust to what
Yeah.
they the style of conversation they'd like to have. But in any way, you just looking into the eyes of your companion.
Yeah.
Be human in that moment, and I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah. Yeah.
they would appreciate
Exactly.
that as well.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can, I mean, you can leverage AI to prepare your interview, but be human in the moment. So I think that's also, yeah, good perspective. And the last thing I would say is, well, don't, I mean, yeah, I already mentioned this during the talk, but don't take rejection personally. I did. I've been there. I was so very depressed after rejections. I know, and also it's really hard. It hit it hit you very hard. But rejection, even though you got rejection, you can learn something from it, and you can bring that experience to the next opportunity. So there is always another opportunity. So I wouldn't say you need to stay positive 100% all the time, but like Lisa, you suggested, you can have some like 30 minutes of mourning time for the rejection, and then you can move forward. So I would say stay resilient and don't give up your hope, and don't take rejections personally.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds like a very good motto for everybody who's looking for the job. And please be aware that it's not only your skills and your branding, but it's also that you exist in the background of the current state of economy and market and job expectations and so on. It's like it's not only you; it's also them. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes all
exactly.
together, and what you can do to support yourself more is basically be a good friend to yourself. Like, just do not beat up after every rejection. Although I also find it relatable, you feel quite depressed after the rejection, and whenever it comes more and more often,
Hmm.
it does influence your morale. But as Danbi says, and also you are the perfect like a living example of happy ends. We can do things. So let's
Yes.
focus on that and stay empowered. Thank you so much, Danbi, for that conversation today.
Thank you so much.